I talked to Chris about this, and you guys kind of know too. Like, I wrote a letter last Tuesday to my company that I work for, just to kind of let them know how I was feeling, what I was dealing with, and what I was going through. Just because I woke up that morning, like maybe off of 3 hours of sleep, and something just told me like, go to the computer and start writing. And like, I just got there and I just kind of wrote from the heart. So I have something that I've kind of like repurposed into a speech. If you guys are cool with it, I'd
please.
go ahead
Bring
and
it.
do it
Go.
now, just because we're on the topic of it. And, you know, I don't want the whole show to kind of be about this situation or me or anything, but obviously I wasn't here last week to be able to speak on it. And I've had some time to kind of, you know, go within and figure out my thoughts and be able to kind of like clearly articulate them. So I wish I had it memorized. I don't. So I'm gonna have to read off my phone, but it's just kind of what I'm feeling and what I've been thinking over the last week or so. So I want to get this out and, you know, just kind of move forward from there. I think it'll be a good thing, not only for me therapeutically to like speak this, you know, truth, but also I think the people listening will be able to get a different perspective from someone like myself of where I'm coming from and things that I've seen, not only just in my lifetime, but even more recently with what's going on. So it says, as I sit here looking for the words to begin this letter in an eloquent manner, my eyes are welling up with tears, making it difficult to see my computer screen. I think in a moment like this, the best thing for me to do is to speak from the heart. So please bear with me as I try and find a way to articulate my thoughts. At the moment, I feel numb. Over the course of the last few days, I've been hit with waves of emotions minute after minute. I'm hurt. I'm angry. I'm sad. I'm anxious. I'm proud. The world has witnessed things like what happened to George Floyd countless times in America, and it's not right. Our lives matter. My life matters. That could have just as easily been me under Derek Chauvin's knee. Or it could have been me in the park that Amy Cooper called the police on and created a false narrative threatening my safety. It could have been me running on the street, minding my own business, hunted down like prey, and murdered like Ahmaud Arbery. And for what? Because the color of our skin is viewed as a weapon. I don't know how to grieve at this point. I'm mourning the loss of my black brothers and sisters whose lives have been taken unjustly at the hands of police officers and civilians alike, while simultaneously mourning the loss of my entire neighborhood that was taken by the hands of looters and rioters on Sunday evening. I was in front of the group during the peaceful protest. It was such an empowering feeling to march for something that I believe in, with people from all backgrounds and walks of life surrounding me. That didn't last long, as the anarchy and mayhem were soon to follow. On Sunday, May 31st at 1:34 p.m., I watched the movement turn from peaceful to violent with the flip of a switch. The looting started right before my eyes at the Van store on the corner of 4th and Broadway, and it would continue well into the dark hours of the night. People came from far and wide to take advantage of that situation. It was clearly organized well beforehand, and as the days passed, flyers had been posted about the looting that was being shared on social media prior to Sunday's events. People are opportunists. People have been locked inside their homes for months without pay or work. People are angry, people are hurt, and people want justice. It's all so hard to digest because I get it, but I don't necessarily agree with it. It all happened right in front of me like a scene out of a movie. My building was the epicenter of it all. I watched the restaurants below me get destroyed in the blink of an eye. My floor shook as pipes were being burst and windows shattered. I watched the bank next to me be robbed, followed by a mob of people attacking a safe for what felt like hours. I watched people pull guns on one another and fight in the streets just feet away from me. All while this was happening, the police were too preoccupied with flexing their authority on the peaceful protesters blocks away, allowing this all to take place. It felt like they wanted it to happen. People would set fires as decoys, the fire department would come in and put it out, and they would all return back down the street to watch the city burn. I'm proud of who I am, and I'm proud to be a black man. I always have been, and I always will be. And in all honesty, being black is pretty fucking lit. But sometimes I don't feel safe in my own skin. If that doesn't speak volumes to you, then maybe you need to clean out your ears. When the color of your skin is viewed as a weapon, you will never be seen as unarmed. A couple episodes ago, we joked about how scary I looked riding my bike on the beach path. For a split second, Chris, my own friend, thought he was getting rolled up on as I was approaching. Although it was all in good fun and we were laughing about the situation, Really think about that for a moment. The fear that was felt was based on the way that I looked as a black male riding my bike in someone's general direction. Nothing more. As the only person of color in the immediate group of the 9 Club, I feel obligated to spark this conversation, but I shouldn't have to. It's not my responsibility to have to educate or speak on these matters. These are conversations that need to be had in people's homes at the dinner tables, in neighborhoods in the cul-de-sacs, and in schools in the classrooms. When topics of race inequality and racial injustice are prevalent in the media and when they're not. I'm only one person, but I know I can speak for a lot of my black brothers and sisters when I say I'm tired. I'm fucking exhausted. This has been a fight that we've been fighting alone for too long now, and we need you as allies. We need you beside us. This is not black versus everybody else. This is everybody versus a corrupt and unjust system that was never designed for us. When the U.S. Constitution was written, black people were viewed as 3/5 of a human. I sit here today to say that yes, all lives do matter, but that statement cannot ring true until Black Lives Matter too. And matter is just the minimum. I don't know what's next. I don't know where we go from here. I just know something has to change. It has to start with all of us on the ground level. For 6 days after Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated, people rioted all over America and over $40 million in damage was done. The day after Dr. King's funeral, Lyndon B. Johnson passed the Fair Housing and Urban Development Act, otherwise known as the Civil Rights Act of 1968. I say all that to say, real legislation changed after people fucked some shit up. And that's what needs to happen now. Real long-term changes. I appreciate what people are doing and saying online in efforts to make that change. We went from doing nothing to signing all the petitions, calling all the officials, watching all the movies about racism, and reading all the books. We aren't going to make up for 400 years in 1 week. This is a long haul. We need to process this because it's been a lot. We need to sit with the weight of it and not just feel like we're good for doing so much so quickly. We're not going to be able to dismantle white supremacy and systemic racism in this country until the people who really benefit from it acknowledge that it exists and intentionally work to destroy it. I know a lot of you have young children, and although I'm not a parent and never would try and tell someone how to raise their kids, I think it's time to start having those uncomfortable conversations with them. Teach them how to love and have compassion for everyone, not just people that look like me, but everybody, no matter their race, religion, sexual orientation, or anything in between. We didn't choose the color of our skin, but it is a choice to hate someone for it. To my black brothers and sisters, I love you. Understand that things we have been aware of and have been speaking openly about for years may not be heard, and they were falling on deaf ears, but they're listening now. Please be open to questions they may have, especially when they're coming from a place of wanting to learn and understand. Please don't get frustrated. We've just reached the tipping point. To my white friends and family, I love you. Please don't be afraid to ask questions, but also understand that this is a privilege to learn about racism and not have to deal with it directly. So educate yourselves too, please. When you know better, you do better. It's time to pull up and be our allies. Post on social media, protest in the streets, donate to Black Lives Matter organizations, have those uncomfortable conversations with your friends and family. Whatever path works best for you, follow it. There's not one right way to go about this. Just keep your foot on the gas, and please stop saying you don't see color. Although your heart may be in the right place, it paints the picture that our entire culture and history don't exist. Sometimes you have to unplug things to do a hard reset and start fresh. Your mind is no different. Don't be afraid to unlearn things you were taught by people who didn't know what the fuck they were doing either, and relearn from a new perspective. I hope you all remain safe and healthy during this time as well. There are 2 pandemics that we're fighting now, COVID-19 and racism. And what do those 2 things have in common? Some people still don't believe they exist if they haven't affected them personally. We're all in this together. Please be careful, please be safe, and please do your part in whatever capacity that may be. From the bottom of my wounded but healing heart, I love you all.